I'm going to go back to that 18 number. I think that's a pretty good number for where they are. We'll make it 18.5.
So we're not far off. But I was going to hover around. I believe we'll see an uptick from last year. And I'm only doing this for this reason. Experience of Joey Aguilar than more than Nico Iamaleava. I have to remind myself that Joey Aguilar still has 2 deposits of 3,000 passing yards in the bank. Now. Let's have the SBC SEC question. Defenses you're facing in the Sun Belt, the defenses you're facing in the SEC.
All right, we got a graphic here we can put up. If we've got there we go. Vol pass plays of over 30 yards. That's what they were talking about, and they set the over/under for this year at 22.5. As you see, in 2021, Tennessee had 30 deep balls. 2022, the Magic year, they had 40. Then it came Joe Milton's turn, and they had 18. Then Nico's turn, and only 15. That is a precipitous decline. And when asked, would they set the line higher as the deep ball coming back into the offense, Chuck said he'd go 18.5. Tyler said 22.5. Since that's the higher, the more in the middle, let's do 22.5. Ryan, over under deep balls 22.5.
I'll take the over. I'll say Aguilar will throw the deep ball better than Nico and Joe Milton did the past 2 years. And the big thing to me, receivers are a little more explosive with those young guys. So I think that makes a big difference.
You are really in on these receivers we've never seen.
They're more talented than Brew McCoy couldn't stretch the field. I like Brew McCoy as a player. He can't stretch the field. So these guys give you that chance.
But he could catch.
Yeah.
I would say slightly over. Joey Aguilar looked at his numbers at App State. More deep shots in total number of attempts, also touchdowns, more interceptions, more yards. So he's a guy that is willing to throw the ball down the field.
Which Nico wasn't.
And wasn't. He was risk avert, I think. And then also the middle of the field is more available to them. And that's where you can get some run after catch. I think it will be improved. His percentage, 36, slightly better than Nico and Milton, but well short of Hooker. So I do think it'll be slightly over.
22.5. You going over or under on 30-yard pass completions?
30 is massive. I think your explosive worthy plays start at like 15 to 20 yards. So to say that they're going to have more than 20, 30-plus yard passes, I'm going to take the under on this one. I am high on the wide receivers, but I think there's a ton of unproven talent on this team. I have no idea what Joey Aguilar is going to look like. There's so much that he's going to have to learn in such a short amount of time. But could they make a push towards the end of the season when they've got the chemistry and they've got things in the right places? Possibly, but 30-yard type plays are hard to come by in the SEC.
Okay. Bob, over under 22.5.
I'm just gonna say under. And so much of that happens with catch and run, which we haven't seen from Tennessee in 2 years. We haven't seen a lot of turn a 10-yard pass into a 35-yard pass. And maybe these receivers are the guys that bring that back to Tennessee's offense. So I'm going to go with under. Just simply, I just think it's too unknown right now.
All right, I got to get to the next. Go ahead.
I was just say real quick, I like Vince's point because I think the tweaks we've heard about to the offense might open up the mid-range passing game a little bit to the point. If we see some different routes and things like that, I think there's some things that maybe 20-yard catch that turns into a 40-yard play every once in a while, and you've got guys that can actually run after the catch.
Okay, everybody got mad at Urban Meyer a couple weeks ago because he said Tennessee was screwed when they changed quarterbacks in April. He chimed in again on another podcast. Let's put this up here. Here's what Urban Meyer said this week. I went and watched Aguilar because I wanted to familiarize myself. I love App State, but the reality is you're stepping in the SEC, so everybody's at least a step, maybe at most positions, 2 steps faster. And when you have 24 interceptions, that's about 1 per game. That's way too many. The windows just are so much tighter in the SEC. I will go back on record again saying Tennessee is screwed. Now you can go get unscrewed real fast if that team develops. But as of May, we're in the get screwed category. So is that just Urban Meyer hates the Vols, or does he make some good points there?
See, I think he makes points because it's all unproven. I mean, by the, yes.
His
we
point
got
about
this
the windows is pretty legit because there's
yes,
going to be a difference
that
between
is very legit.
The speed as well.
But we got all this talk about the receivers being talented. I will believe it when I have seen it because I was told Joe Milton was going to be this big whoop-de-doo. I was told Brazel and Thornton were going to be, oh man, Squirrel White, we got this. I will believe it when I see it that this talent is there. I'm not saying I'm not agreeing totally with we're screwed, but I think either way.
I was just going to say, his premise is right. The interceptions won't fly in this offense. He's just kind of hammering home the screwed description
That's
of it.
because he got blasted by Tennessee
Right.
fans online.
Right.
So he dove back in. Yeah.
Right, exactly. So you can debate the semantics of the value of screwed.
No,
but-
that's not what I'm talking
No,
about.
no,
I'm not getting into that word. I'm getting into whether or not he's right. The windows are going to be smaller, and this is going to be tougher for Joey Aguilar than most people think.
Yeah, it is. And like you said, doesn't mean he can't make the adjustment, but he's right to point those things out, that it will be even more difficult. He's got to adjust. Coach has got to help him too.
I think he's right about the tighter windows. The thing in Tennessee's offense, they don't ask you to make a lot of high risk
Well, that's
throws.
what I was about to say. The offense lends itself to not having
He's
to.
never had a quarterback throw double-digit
Yep.
interceptions,
So,
ever.
so if he can take care of the ball and do what the offense is supposed to do, and it's not a whole lot different looking from
Well,
last
I
year.
mean, and that's what they did for Nico a year ago, and that's why there were 34 rushing touchdowns a year ago, and why you led or your run game was better than your passing game. They're not going to put you in danger situations. So maybe it's because they take the ball out of his hands, or maybe he develops.
I will just say this: I have no clue if he'll be right or wrong. I think the point about the speed in the Sun Belt Conference versus the Southeastern Conference is legit.
Yeah.
Meaning the windows will be smaller. But I'll just point this out. When Tennessee hired Lane Kiffin, Al Davis said, "Watch out, the guy's a pathological liar." And everybody here ripped that old crazy man, Al Davis, only to find out Al Davis was correct. Then everybody gets mad at Chip Towers and Aaron Murray for saying Jeremy Pruitt is not a good fit. He's not the right hire. That ain't good. Everybody's like, they're just mad. They're at Georgia. They were right. Sometimes somebody you don't like can tell you something you don't want to hear, and it's a good point. I don't know if he's going to be right or wrong on this. We'll see how it develops. We'll see how the coaches go with it. But I will say he's not just pulling that out of thin air.
Urban Meyer knows quarterback play. I mean,
He really liked
Yeah.
it.
So I would listen to it. You may not like it, but I would listen to it. I wouldn't take it to the bank, but I wouldn't just automatically throw it out because it's Urban Meyer.